I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Rodney McLeod. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about the offseason and maybe, kind of look back a little bit on the season as a whole for the Indianapolis Colts. As, obviously we do not have a game to look forward to this upcoming weekend, to the chagrin of myself and the Colts players, the team and everything. But it is what it is. Not everybody can make the dance, and now we get to sit on the sidelines and watch it from a distance. And whether you're a player or a fan of a team that didn't make it or not, still football fans, still some football out there. Now we could sit back and actually watch games as a fan, right, Rodney?
Yeah, that's true. Now, I turn into a fan just like everybody else. Unfortunately, make my picks and sit there and enjoy some good football. There are a lot of good teams, obviously, in the playoffs. I'm excited about a few matchups, and uh, this is a great time, man, to be involved. I know countless times I made it to the playoffs. All eyes are on you. For every player, you dream of these moments as a kid where nothing else is on but NFL playoff football. And so, for people who haven't seen you all year, this is now their chance to see, what you're all about. And the thing is, there's no tomorrow. You have to play your best that particular game, and that's what makes playoffs so special, and brings out the best in everybody, because people know, it's win or go home mentality.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL to bowl season to esports. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts. Absolutely. And for the Indianapolis Colts, it is a go home special, this week. There's a lot going on in the building with the players and coaches and things of that nature. As a player, after that final game, knowing that your season is finally over, could you kind of take us by a step-by-step process as a player, uh, in the process of ending the season before, actually, getting back home and trying to start living your regular life?
Yeah, that end of the season moment, you're really saying your last goodbyes to everybody within that organization. What people don't know is, so often teams never look the same again for so many reasons. Whether you win or lose in this game, there are going to be different uh, personnel within the team. That's just reality, just from the business side of it alone. And so that extends from players to coaches to even, guys within the front office. As for us, there's a huge question mark in who will be leading the team next year, right? As far as, head coach, that is the biggest question mark. Who's going to be calling the plays, both offensively, defensively, and special teams? Those questions will be answered, but this makes things a lot more like real for everybody because of what we experienced this year, and knowing that this is our last moment together. And some guys, obviously, because of their relationships, are going to have the ability to link up outside of the building. But for most, this will be it until April. you and so you're just trying to really just soak it all in. And of course, you go through your process of returning on Monday, and you have your exit meetings with a number of people, from training staff to front office, to your position coach, to player development, to equipment, you know what I'm saying, down to like the shrimp coaches as well. You're literally having those individual meetings just to make sure everything's intact. Can't forget about the video department, with them precious iPads and everything. But yeah, that's kind of what goes on. And then you have your team meeting, and coach gives his spiel and how, what we should look forward to going into the offseason. Just a reflection, right, of the year, but also looking into what lies ahead and how can we get better. How can we all come back as better individual players, and to be able to help now going into the next season, and us all trying to win a championship ultimately.
Absolutely. I ended up speaking a little bit, had an interview with Dio and Jelani yesterday. As you know, a lot of people were made available, being it was the end of the season, and I was asking them, they're young players, and I asked them, what they were looking forward to improving during this off season as a young new player, as a veteran, as a guy who's been in the NFL a while. You talk about things that you're always learning, always trying to get better. What are some things that you yourself this off season through until next year are looking at that possibly maybe get better at if you decide to come back? And are you coming back? I mean, like to the NFL, not necessarily the Colts, but the NFL.
Yeah, I think I have to take some time to discuss it with my family, and also agency, everybody who's a part of my team, really, to really figure out what's next for Rodney McLeod. And do I feel like I still have more to give? 100%. And so you just have to really weigh all options and lay it out on the table, and make the best decision possible. Of course, with with everyone in mind, particularly my wife and my family, but then just lean on God to provide that direction. So there's no rush for me. I have plenty of time over the course of these next couple months to one, heal my body, heal my soul, step away for a little bit, enjoy some time away from the game, knowing that it was a very long season for us all. But I think for me, it's taking a step back to really self-evaluate myself this past year. Things that I did well in, but then also what areas can I improve on. And I think that's just me looking closely at the film, and really trying to pinpoint and nitpick. That's what makes some of the greats who they are. It's because they do that. I think Saturday shared with us what he used to do in the offseason. He would literally reach out to a few teammates or opponents, that players that he's had the opportunity to go against and that he has great trust in, to ask for their honest opinion. What do I do well, man? And what are the things that you see that I lack, or that needs improvement? And that's the first time I've ever heard someone actually ask not only their teammates, but people that they played against as well, what they thought about him in the offseason. And so that just shows you his mindset, but how he was so determined to be great. And those are little steps that you take in order to improve your game year to year. And that's what makes him one of the best to ever do it. And so for me, this same mentality. I don't know if it's reaching out to opposing players, but just being critical of myself. And I'm always my biggest critic and real. And so that's what I'll focus on.
When it comes to being a veteran that are on the backside of their career, what does a veteran prioritize when it comes to signing with a team? Do they prioritize the contract or they prioritize a championship?
Very good question. And I think it really just depends on that veteran player, where they are in their career, right? You have certain guys who have made plenty of money, multi-year deals, extensions, and honestly, financially are in good position. They are content where they are financially, but for them, it could be solely, man, I need an opportunity at a championship, or I've never even made the playoffs, right? And I want that. I want that on my resume. I want to be able to say I made the playoffs at least one time out of my career, just to experience that, just to get that
Mhm.
see what does that feel like. And so, yeah, it just really all depends on where you are in your career. And I know for a lot of guys, some people are, man, I want an extra meal or two, you know what I'm saying, just on the back end, just to do some of the things that I want to do outside of the sport. Or I need one more Pro Bowl associated with my, to my resume. So everybody plays the game for different reasons, and priorities are always different. Some people are, man, I want to be closer to home, to where my home is. So what teams are in that area, right, that can make it a little bit easier for my family, right, with children and going to school. So there's so many variables, especially for us, veterans. Yeah, I would say 10 plus family who, yeah, priorities are all different because our lives are all different. Our careers have been different, and so you have to just do what's best for you at the end of the day.
Absolutely. That's I didn't even contemplate a lot of those answers that you provided. Is it you know puts in the whole Tom Brady thing of going to Florida, right? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
little bit closer to where he's at,
yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely understand that now a little bit better. Jeff Saturday yesterday is in this end of season presser talked about how if he is hired, that he still wants to be the long term head coach, and that if he is hired, that he would do things a lot differently. Like he would run things a lot differently than what they were when he came in.
Mhm.
Um, Now, was there any instances where you noticed that he is a lot different when it comes to running a ship than say other coaches that you've been around?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I think he does have the perspective of being a player, which is great value as a head coach, which I've been around. I think all of my coaches have been former players, to be honest. And that's probably what I enjoy most is they understand our world a lot better. So, but I would say for Jeff, it's the things that he spoke about and demanded of us are the things that you want to hear from your head coach. Accountability, discipline, hard work, effort, uh, competitiveness, competitive toughness, all those sorts of things you want to hear, and you want your team to rally around. Those core values are big, and I think just what he's speaking to is it's hard when you come in mid-season to really try to um, either fix but also implement all the things that want to at that point in time. Like we're very regimen driven creatures, and so when you come in and man, you're like, wow, I really would want it this way, but how is that's gonna adjust and affect so much of everybody else's routine, like us as players, but even more so for coaches, their schedules. everybody else that's involved has just been just so accustomed to that one particular way that it's hard to now come in and try to restructure it all. That takes time, and that also takes people, coming together, give input, and truly believing in it all, right? And so I think that's just more so what he's speaking on when he makes those comments, is that it's hard. Of course he did the best that he could, but there's probably so much that he would love to implement and change, just because that's the nature of it all, and he has his ways and what he thinks it will take for us to win, to get the best results out of everybody that he's leading in that building. And then you just have to respect that.
Absolutely. And the first impressions are everything. And when a coach comes in, gaining the respect of the players and the other coaches on the team is first and foremost. He spoke about that day one when he come in, how he had to earn your guys' respect. And then, he said it again yesterday. And how important is that? Is that really that big of a deal to the players for the coach to earn your guys' respect, or do you automatically kind of give it to him because, hey, he's your boss?
I think for everybody, it is a respect and trust factor, right? And you always are going to be very respectful of your boss superior, right? Like that's just the way it goes. But then there's the trust factor, and there's the buy-in. Like, have you fully bought into what this man is saying to you? And that goes from head coach to all of the coordinators as well. And the minute that you can get everyone to truly buy in and believe what you're saying to be true, then that's when you know what I'm saying, you really have gained the trust and respect of everybody. And that's when you start to see the results that you're seeking, to be honest. The minute people start to doubt or have questions about what someone is saying, what they're doing, their plan, that's when the friction begins, right? And that's when that rock that you've been trying to form, now there's somebody that's piercing it, and can you keep it intact, right? Like, do you have the players or the leaders within that room to keep things intact from it forming multiple cracks before it breaks? And that's what you see normally when coaches get fired, is that they've lost the locker room as a whole. They lost the team, and it shows in a lot of different ways, right? Internally, you only can see that for the most part. But when that happens, there's all hope is really lost. And I think, despite what we went through before Jeff entered into the building, he kept guys in the room together. And he demanded excellence out of us. He had a certain level of standard that he expected. He never wavered from that. And I think guys did respect that from Jeff.
Okay. You talk about how, when coaches get fired, it's generally because they've lost the locker room. Is that the case? Is that what happened with Frank?
I'm not going to say that's what happened, in our situation. Typically, like, what you see a lot of times, like I said, is guys probably have lost the locker room, but there are also coaches who get fired similar to Frank. Is, maybe it had a lot to do just with the performance overall, right? Like, everyone had so high expectations of us, and what we were supposed to be this year, but we never, lived up to that. And so that could very much so be a reason, why. I don't know. I don't make those decisions, but I know for a fact that in that moment, even though I think we came off the New England game, and that was just a tough performance, but I never felt as though guys stopped playing or didn't care about one another, about the season, even in that moment. And you figure we just came off Washington, I believe, the game before that came down to the wire. So I don't think that was true in our situation at all. But I do know other countless situations that typically speaking, especially early on, if a coach gets fired, maybe similar to like a Denver, right? 1 year, that's hard to do. Frank was there for some time, of course, here with the organization. So it's a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Hackett thing was something you don't see a lot. Fired midway through their first season. That's something you don't see very often. But at that point, I think it had to have been Hackett or Russell, and they put $250 million in Russell. So, excuse me. So I know that this past season is disappointing overall, but was there any positives that you took from this past season, from the organization and the games that you played, and maybe the personnel, the people you met, things of that nature? Was there a lot of positive to come out of your time here in Indy?
Yeah, I think football is always about relationships, man. And that's what keep guys around, and what people miss most about the game is their brothers that they play with, the relationships they made throughout their careers, and really reflecting on those moments. Those are what you cherish the most. So I am extremely grateful for my time here, to be able to connect with so many new men that I never would have had the opportunity unless I made that decision to come here and stepping into this locker room. And that's what really kept me going from day one to the end, is solely my brothers. Because everything else around is not going well, but you can hold on, and it's enjoyable coming into work. Despite our circumstances, I still enjoy the work environment. And the work environment is made up of those individuals who are all in that locker room. So there are plenty of people that our relationship will extend past this season, that I'm grateful for, and jerseys that I had the opportunity to get, and phone numbers, man, and it's just a brotherhood, that's forever. And so I'm very appreciative of everybody for accepting me, welcoming me, man, and just with open arms, really. And that's something that you can look back on, and despite what the record is, you look back and you say, man, like, we had a lot of good moments together, and it's something to take on with you for life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sitting here and talking about this past year with the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, we're going to have a few more episodes together at minimum as the playoffs come through. But end of the Colts season. It kind of sucks, but life goes on, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone out there, thank you so much for watching. This was Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, was my guy, Rodney McLeod. I'm used to saying Gerard Powers first.
Right. In that mode.
Yeah, in the mode. But this was brought to you by Bet Online, and as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?